I think I was excited and nervous altogether, and it's such a great opportunity to meet other artists of the world firsthand, kind of physically meet them, and also my experience. My artwork is all about finding balance and harmony between strings of life. In my community, the lifespan is referred to as a calabash suspended from a string. So disconnecting the calabash from a string is like disconnecting an individual from its source of life. So the strings give life to my works, just like individual is referred to as being held by the string of life. Basically, I use strings to suspend them, and the strings give life to the artwork. So the undulating movement of the strings is like the challenges of life, waves of experiences that brings about the challenges. The tips is all about thinking about removal of that strings. When they are removed, that means you have ended the artwork. So in order not to disconnect from the life source, so the strings have to be there to keep them, as in to keep them in shape, or not just shape, but without the string, they don't exist. They kept wondering how long it took me to suspend all the pieces together, because it's not just suspension. I try to configure them with the bits and pieces. So the bits and pieces is like bits and pieces of challenges that I face, and that accumulates the whole artwork, or the accumulation of my experience. So they asked me, why do I use string? And I told them I'm trying to find balance or harmony between the strings of life, challenges of life. So they are like bits and pieces of success, a failure, challenges that accumulate the entire experience. I'll be installing a piece in this upcoming Shanju Craft Biennale. So the work is about tea cup. To think about the tea, and then think about the cup. The cup is the container, and then the tea is the content. So I'm trying to allow myself to think about if I'm aiming at something, not only the container, that I also look at the content. They should be able to, like the other encourages the other one, assuming that I'm in a competition, and I think about the goal, what I'm going to win. I think about what I'm going to invest to win that. So the tiny bits and pieces of that comes together to win the goal is what I'm looking at in the tin cup. In this finale, using the elephant as a metaphor, like connecting deep, that's the title, like trying to close the gap, the yearning, because I'm using it to describe my traumatic experience I had when my father passed away. And it's like something you never want to lose, but you have no control over losing it or not losing it. So definitely you have to. But then how do I find peace with that? How do I close the gap, like a proper closure? So I try to recreate the elephant representing my family, a family of 8. So like now we are looking onto our father, though he has passed away, but we felt that he's still looking onto us. So we try to remember all the experience that we had together. Now let the experience carry me along, not the sadness that I felt when he passed away. So, you know, elephant is referred as, it has 60% of the emotional experience with human being. So that's why I chose to use elephant to represent that, because they have the capacity to remember for a very long time. So that's what I'm trying to use that to. In our tradition, when someone passes away, we have to do kind of the burial slash celebration, like farewell celebration, and it's not done only with the family, or we have extended family or friends and relatives. They come along to do the burial and slash farewell ceremony. So inviting the audience to the work is like pulling from them their own experiences, like what they treasure that they lost, or what they cherish, or maybe a family member they somehow lost somehow. So it's pulling other experience as we share together, as we mourn together, as we remember together, to remember fondly, not no longer sad, but happily sharing how we felt at some point in our loss. It's religious. I work in Nigeria and do exhibition anywhere I'm invited. Yeah, I have a blog site. I share a lot in Facebook. I think all I could say is that I get a lot of likes about my work, and then I particularly pick interest in one statement. This is crazy. Oh, she said, this is insane. How do I go about suspending those? So I think that's one comment that moves me, to think that my work is like kind of crazy to think about. The configuration, suspending bits to configure an image or object. So that's what fascinates. I would not say that, because a lot of people are doing suspended works, but it's just that they are, a creator said something about that people could relate to what I'm doing. The realistic suspension of the images is what pull people to the work. Like, how did you do this? Well, a little of the culture is embedded in my work. Like the first installation was based on the technique of fishing. We don't do a lot of fishing in my own community, but just discussing with another artist that knows much about technique of fishing. That's how I started with suspension, trying to use the bait and the floater to configure images. So the string, the line for fishing, and then the bait, and then the floater forms the artwork.